Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is another movie review. Today we're tackling Mission Impossible 2. This one came out in the year 2000 and let me just say, oh boy, it certainly is a movie. So going into this, I've always wanted to see these movies because it was in Lego Dimensions, the whole thing. And I played that game and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. That was mainly based around the first movie, at least the level was. I did review the first film. Again, you can go watch that on my channel. It's like the last video or whatever. In short, it was good. Like, I enjoyed it. I had some issues with it, but one of the biggest issues I had in that first film was the story and just how, not difficult to understand, but kind of convoluted, a little too, complicated for its own good. A lot of twists and turns, but half of it is like, it's not like a good twist and turn. It's just kind of like, this is weird, what's going on here? And that was one of the kind of, the biggest issues of the first one. This one definitely, I think that they kind of fixed it. But they kind of did like a trade-off because John Woo directed this film, and I guess this is kind of like the black sheep of this franchise because you get some people that love it, some people that don't love it. Me, myself, I came into this going, okay, I like the first one, and this one's going to be pretty good too, right? I mean, hopefully it's not as confusing, and it isn't. I mean, you basically have like this I don't know the name of the drugs or whatever. It's like clocophin and hooga blooga, some kind of, like corona. It's like freaking coronavirus, and then whatever they thought the cure was in those vaccines. That's what it, that's basically what the movie is. Some doctor injects himself with some crap, and he kind of like, wreaks havoc on the body and all that, and then in turn they have this antidote that they're trying to find, and the bad guy wants it, like Andros, something like that, Andros, and he's fine, the villain is fine in this, it's good. There's actually some really good twists and turns, which I wasn't expecting, but the plot itself kind of begins a little bit confusing, right? There's this doctor on the plane, or this, doctor in the video, like Albert Einstein looking dude, and he's like, oh, there is real hero, and there is also villain, and then he's on a plane, and Ethan Hunt snaps his neck completely silently, and I don't know how he does it. And then after that, shit goes sideways, and there's a lot of face reveals and a lot of, you got to see the movie, you know what I'm saying. And yeah, it's good. Like, there's some good twists and turns in there. In terms of the plot, though, like I said, it is more, I don't want to say condensed, but it is nowhere near as what the fudgy as the first one, because the first one just has so many elements. It's not like the most confusing movie in the world, all right? I'm not saying that, but this one's more straightforward. You got a drug that kills people, and they got an antidote. And this guy's trying to get it to, infect a big population and get some money. And Ethan Hunt is trying to stop it and kind of, put together an IMF team. Of course, Luthen Stickle, he's back. And then we got some other Australian dude. He's like, hey, mate, you alright, mate? Did you read barbecue and Outback Steakhouse? Bloody drugs. And then after that, you get, the bad guy. And then you also get Naya. No, not Nia. I know when people that don't know what Ninjago is, they see NYA and they go, Naya! In fact, I think there was off topic, but I think there was a Ninjago video game. I remember playing it. There's a Ninjago video game on the DS. And for some reason, the rejects at TT Fusion that day decided to mess me up mentally. And every effing thing in that game, I don't know which one it is, tell me down below, but everything in that Ninjago game for the DS, Jay or whoever would call Nia Naya, and I swear to God, it made me the most... I hated it. Anyway, yeah, so we got some really crazy stuff there, and whatever. But yeah, Naya, it's supposed to be called Naya in this. She's kind of like the, I don't want to say love interest to Ethan, but, kind of like partner and all that. That Anthony Hopkins, who I guess is like the guy from the first movie. I guess like, I mean, look, the IMF is bigger than just that group of guys and girls from the first film, right? It's a bigger organization than just a small handful of people. So obviously there's other guys that aren't that guy, Kittredge, from the first film, right? There's bigger bosses and whatnot. I don't think this guy shows up again, Anthony Hopkins, but he's in it, and he's telling Ethan, hey, gotta do it, you gotta team up with Naya, because she's a girl, and she's a thief. Basically, Catwoman before the Batman, basically. And it's fine, like, she's a good addition. I think that part is solid, right? Okay, the plot, it's more condensed, it's more streamlined, it's a little bit easier, I like it. And then you get the actors, they're fine. I think Ethan Hunt is better in this movie. I think that the music is obviously fine. There's like a really awesome, badass rock version of the that kind of thing. And you get obviously you get explosions and motorcycle chases and gunfights. And this film generally and genuinely, is a hell of a lot more action-packed than the first one. The first one is an action film, but it's like an action light film. There's explosions and fights, but there's barely any of it in it, right? The first one very much is a slower paced spy movie, which is fine because that's what it's trying to be. This one, however, they really try to kind of up that ante and be like, all right, let's just have this be really, really more action-packed, and it works. So that stuff is good. Okay, the plot's fine, the action's fine for the most part. The acting is good, the writing is fine. Like I said, it's an enjoyable movie to watch. Some good twists and turns. Where this movie falls apart for me is John Woo, because I've never seen a John Woo movie. I know or at least he used to be a big time name in Asian films and all that, where basically you got like a guy with like guns akimbo, not Daniel Radcliffe, but same kind of thing. It's basically when you do the akimbo perk in COD, it's like that. You're just running around shooting guys with Glocks and 1911s or whatever, and just going crazy. That's kind of his style, right? It's very much brutal and just run in and shoot. It's not quite John Wick gun fights. John Woo has this very unique way of filming, and he brought that into Mission Impossible 2, and that's a detriment and a blessing, because at the same time you get a lot more action, but there's a lot of slow-mo. Like, if you think Ninjago has Ninjago does slow-mo well. This does slow-mo half well, because some of it works, and some of it is just too slow. Like, there's slow-mo in non-action scenes. Like, Naya meets Ambrose, and like they're crazy effing like Just Cause 2 looking mansion, and she's walking up, and the music is good, but they play this really haunting and like dramatic music, and she's walking up, and she's just completely stoic, and Ambrose just standing there, just standing there waiting, and then like he takes this thing and grabs the scarf all dramatically and puts it around her. It's just a lot of this is done on purpose. Like, John Woo has a director vision, okay? He's not deliberately making this cheesy as fudge, but it comes off cheesy as fudge because you're watching it, and I'm in the moment, and I'm like, this is cool. And then it's just like they play this music, and everything goes slow motion, and the action's fine. So, like, there's a really badass motorcycle chase in the end. But then, like, Ethan Hunt, it's very different fighting style, right? He's, like, jumping on guys. He's, like, kicking guys in the head. He's doing these weird, like, flips and shit. He's doing the two guns, but a lot of it is just so slow motion. It's kind of unbearable. Some of it isn't slow motion. Some of it is. Again, there's a lot of slow motion in some non-action scenes, and it's just weird. Like, you get, like, shots of him walking past fire in slow motion, and, like, there's doves just flying, like loosey-goosey, just flying in the air like they're on crack. Again, this is the vision, okay? I'm not trying to undersell it. This is what he wants. This is his version of film. That's how he does movies, all right? But I don't like it too much. That's weird. And there's another, a few weird shots, like I said, where she's walking up to him, like I said, the scarf thing. There's another scene where, like, he's chasing her in a car, and they actually parodied this scene in Lego City Undercover, where Chase kind of like hits Natalia in the car, and they're kind of spinning, like doing this 360, and she's about to fall off a cliff. It's literally the same thing in Lego City Undercover, and that's where they got it from. So I've seen this scene before in a Lego game with different characters. Now I'm seeing it in the actual movie, and they're spinning around, they're they hit, and it's like Cars 3. Lightning McQueen's just flipping, just going crazy, and of course she falls off the cliff and whatnot. But there's like really weird slow mo where like they're just looking into each other's eyes. Just weird, just some really weird-ass decisions made by John Woo. Because, again, some of the action's great. A lot of the cinematography is really good. The shots are good. Like, there's some solid stuff that's better than the first one. But then you get these really weird friggin' shots and takes and editing techniques where everything goes slow motion 100% of the time. And it's just really awkward and weird. And I literally was sitting there in my chair cringing. Because I'm like, alright, this could be great, but why do you have to have this music? It's like, why do you need to have that in there? You know what I mean? Don't make that into a meme, that thing I just did. But I think it's really weird. Like, some of it does work, some of it doesn't. And the stuff that doesn't work really friggin' stands out. And you're like, oh, I don't know about that one. You know what I mean? Did they have to do it like that? Because there's 100 million effing ways it's going to be done differently. But John Woo is John Woo, and he decided to woo and do it. So that's what you get, I guess. Not a horrible movie by any stretch of the imagination, but overall, I do think the plot is better. I think the action is, there's more action. I don't know if it's better, but there's more of it. But if they were to take out the weird editing and the weird music choices and the weird slow-mo and just doves or fucking everywhere for no reason. They're just there, you know what I mean? They just show up there, there's, whatever, you know. You got some weird, like, you know, Ethan Hunt is doing some cool, like, jujitsu type of Ninjago stuff, and he's flopping and flooping around in the desert. The final kill where he kills Ambrose, you don't even see the shot. Like, you don't like see him shoot and then Ambrose reacts and there's a squib or there's or like dust or, you know, whatever. It's just like a really weird like slow motion thing where like he grabs the gun and twists around and shoots, but you don't see him shoot. You don't see him get hit. It's really weird stuff. Some of the editing is good, but the stuff that really stands out is like some really weird stuff. Where like a lot of this action stuff is slow mo because if they did it at normal speed, Ethan would have effing died. Because he like throws a thing, kicks something in the sand, does like a freaking 360 and no scopes the guy like it's Call of Duty. You know what I mean? It's really weird stuff. And it's fun. But like I said, I'm sitting there in my chair and I'm like, they could have done that differently. And oh man, they could have not had this weird like Arabian music in a non-Arabian setting. Or they you know, I mean, just for example, or like again that scene where she's just walking up to him, all slow motion, and he's just standing there like a freaking board of wood, just watching her. And then he goes like, grabs the thing, and just really weird. Like, why aren't you talking? She walks up really, really slow, and I know it's like slow motion, but like if I was walking up to someone, right, or if I had a beautiful woman walking up to me, I wouldn't just stand there like this. You know what I mean? Like I got freaking petrified, Hermione petrified Neville, you know what I mean? And then he just grabs a scar. It's just weird. And it plays into the, you know, kind of, I guess, schizophrenia type of behavior, because this guy, he has like a henchman, Hugh or Huey or Dewey or whatever, and he's just like, hey, boss, I don't know about this lady, man, she's a little sus. And he's like, nah, forget it, it's fine. There's Irish. She's like, no, forget about it, it's fine, just fucking get the potatoes, you know what I mean? That's what he does. And that's good, that stuff works, because it's like, alright, there's some paranoia going on, and the masks and all that, who do you trust? I like that. But it's just some really weird, like, I haven't seen this weird editing since, like, I don't know, man, like, freaking Attack of the Clones or something, just some weird, like, writing choices, you know what I mean? I really haven't. It's good stuff for the most part, but when Woo does his Woo thing, and again, I haven't seen any other John Woo movies, but this guy, you know, doing my research and watching other YouTube clips of his other movies, I've noticed that they kind of have a similar thing. They got slow motion, explosions, and doves, and he just decided to like flop that in there. And apparently, like, Tom Cruise is like a producer, and like he got locked out of the editing room, or I think John Woo got locked. Someone got locked out of the editing room for being a weirdo. The behind the scenes stuff is a bit wonky, and I don't judge a movie based on what happened behind the scenes. I judge a movie based on the movie, and the movie that we got was good. Like I said, there's a lot of good action, especially that motorcycle chasing the Ant-Man, really good stuff. I think that the stunt between Ambrose and Ethan, you know, he puts the knife right up to his freaking retina, I think, or the cornea, I don't know, to the eye, and you know, it's crazy because like, oh shit, like that's real, you know what I mean? A big part of this franchise is that the stuff is real. And it is very dangerous, and it looks really real because it was real. And then some of the stuff, like I said, some of the editing, the slow motion, the doves, random doves. Maybe there's doves in that area of the world, I don't know, but there's a heck of a lot of doves in this movie. And it just comes across as a little bit cringy and a little bit cheesy and corny, where the first one didn't. Apparently there's like, because J.J. Abrams, you know, who did Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, two of my favorite films ever created, did Mission Impossible 3, and I'm very excited to get into that one. But so far, I do like these two movies. I'm not going to lie and say they're good movies, but there's a lot of flaws in them that I didn't want to be in them. I just wanted, hey, they're great action movies and that's it. But, I mean, I guess then you would have a video. But I do like it. It's a good time. It's a good movie. There's some funny jokes. There's some good action, really, you know, tense moments. But again, some of that editing choices that Woo kind of does in his other films kind of, you know, bleeds into this one. And by the end of it, I was like, all right, this was fun. This was a good action movie. And it had a lot more action than the first one. But some of the slow-mo and the stuff is a bit kind of all over the place in terms of, you know, what they're trying to do. They kind of have this like this music cue that happens when Naya does something, and of course, you know, she gets infected and she's gonna kill herself to kind of prevent the spreading. And it's good, like the tensions are there, you know what I mean? It's good storytelling, but they keep revisiting this weird song and the slow motion. It kind of, it's like when you play a really good video game and then you notice a lot of like frame rate drop and like lag and screen tear and shit like that, and you're like, I like the game, but there's these little blips on the radar that are kind of preventing it from being perfect. And that's kind of what this is. Very good movie. And, a lot more action than the first one, but there's a few things in there I would have changed myself if I was directing or editing or whatnot. I know, again, that is his style. I say that a lot because I get it, right? Like, every director has their own vision of a film. But I guess this vision just didn't jive with me. I don't know, man. But it's a fun movie for sure. It is pretty flawed, though. I'm going to give Mission Impossible 2. I'll give it a B. I think I'll give it a B. Just a little bit lower than the first one, but I did enjoy it, and I'm very excited to check out Mission Impossible 3 as soon as I can. Of course, you guys know I got school and all that, but I should be able to get it in pretty soon. It's about 2 hours, so I should be able to do it. But I enjoyed these first two. I'm not going to lie. I am enjoying my time with the franchise. I'm glad I'm watching them, and they're good, but they could be better. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.